Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia Hart and I am a K through 2 autism teacher as well as an avid reader and crafter. So if you like reading, crafting, autism, or teaching, this is the channel for you. So today I wanted to do my May book wrap up. So each month I have been in 2025, I have been recording the books that I read each month, and I wanted to record my monthly wrap up, and I wanted to start doing this every month. So for this month, I was using the Journey to Healthy Facebook group book club challenge to kind of keep me motivated and to get me to try new books, because I have a habit, and that's another thing that I've been working on, is I have a habit of reading the same authors and the same genres, and I'm trying to really branch out more, and this has been helping me to do that. So I use the Journey to Healthy May challenge to kind of keep me going, and I read a total of 7 books. 5 were audiobooks, 2 were physical books in the month of May. And May is also the last month of school. So as a teacher, I was busy also with all of that kind of thing. So that kind of explains why it was so few, because I usually go through a lot more books than that. And a couple of them were longer books. And so I drive to and from work an hour each way. And so I do audiobooks usually while I'm driving. And then I'll do audiobooks sometimes if I'm just playing games on my phone. I'll have audiobooks going while I'm playing. So for the May challenge, the challenges were to read a book or author that starts with the letter M, a book or author that starts with the letter A book or author that starts with the letter Y, May in the title, picture of a flower on the cover, star on the cover or in the title, a 5-word title, mother in the title, and red, white, and blue on the cover. And a lot of people in the group were saying they had a hard time with these challenge topics, but actually this was pretty easy for me at the beginning, because I had 2 books that were on my TBR for May anyway, and that was Mother May I and The Mother Next Door. So that took care of Mother and May, and one book actually took care of both. So that was kind of serendipitous. So Mother May I was the first book I read in May. It was an audiobook, and I get all of my audiobooks free from Libby. I don't pay for my audiobooks. I don't do Audible. I used to do Audible, and I didn't really use it as much. Now that I'm driving back and forth, I probably could. But so far, Libby has been keeping me busy. So, like, why not just use the free, right? So Mother May I was a book by Joshilyn Jackson, and it's spelled like Joshilyn Jackson, Joshlyn. And I found out that she's one of my new favorite authors. So I found a new author through this. And in this book, it's a thriller, mystery, suspense, fast-paced, twisty-turny, gives you the essence of like a Frida McFadden type of book, but it's all her own. It's her own voice. And I was really surprised, because most of her books in Libby are available to borrow now. They're not on any kind of back holds or anything, which I thought was interesting, because I really love her books. So this book essentially is about a woman. She has a baby, and then she has an older child, and she takes the older child to, I think, a choir practice or something, and she turns her head for a minute, and next thing you know, the baby's missing. She had thought that she had seen this woman in her window at night when she's sleeping, but then she chalked it up to, new mother blues and that kind of thing. And so when the baby went missing, then she kind of realized that maybe this was an actual person. And so it goes through the details of this woman actually holding the baby hostage, and she has to figure out who the lady is before the time is up. And it's a really good, like I said, fast-paced book. And I don't want to give anything too much away, so I'm going to leave it at that. I gave it 5 stars, and like I said, I have a new favorite author to catch up on. The next book I read was The Mother Next Door, and this one is like a true crime type of book, where the author has experience in her family with Munchausen's by proxy. And so this is like her book to kind of raise awareness of Munchausen's and Munchausen's by proxy. And she goes through several different cases and talks about the similarities, the differences, and kind of gives an awareness of signs and symptoms to look for and ways to kind of catch people who are committing this crime of Munchausen's by proxy especially. The next, and I gave that one 5 stars. The next book is A Messy Murder, and it is part of a series. It was a physical book, and I paid full price for it. And if you know me, you know that that's amazing, because I usually get everything discounted secondhand. But I actually purchased 2 books in May that I paid full price for. And I'm trying to kind of get myself in the habit of spending money on things that are for me and that make me feel good, instead of always trying to look for the cheapest deal. Sometimes it's just fun to be able to just buy the book that you wanted to read, you know? And so this was one of them. I have read every one of Simon Brett's Decluttering Mystery books. He has many books, I've noticed, but I think there's 4 or 5 in the Decluttering Mystery series, and this was the last one. And it's a cozy mystery. Like I said, Decluttering Mysteries gives you, you know, the vibes of, you know, decluttering, the coffee house mysteries, flea market mysteries, those fun kind of cozy mysteries, kind of, you know, it's murder, but in a fun way. So in this one, it was an old man. He turned 80 years old on his 80th birthday. They found him with his a bottle of his favorite drink, and he was not alive anymore. With his body was a note, or a copy of a article from a magazine that he wrote that said that when you turn 80, your life is worthless after that. You're just taking up space, you're taking up money and time, and that you should no longer be alive. And basically they took it as his kind of confession that he, you know, did the deed himself. Well, Ellen, the main character of the book, she decides that she wants to look into it further. She doesn't believe that that's what it is. And so she looks into it, and that's where the fun comes in. And I gave it 5 stars. It gives you a lot of Murder, She Wrote vibes. This one does. 5 stars. And like I said, I love his Decluttering Mystery books, and I probably need to start on some of his other books and see how I like those. The next book I read was an audiobook. It was Listen for the Lie, and this one was about a podcaster, and his podcast is called Listen for the Lie, and a girl who was accused of killing her best friend when they were young, and now it's, you know, years later, and he's trying to find out who committed the crime, and he's got like 100%, you know, solve rate on figuring these things out. And so her mother convinces her to go ahead and participate in this podcast, and she has amnesia. She doesn't know whether or not she committed the crime, and she wants to know now. She's like ready to find out, did I commit this crime, or, you know, didn't I? If I didn't, who did? And so it is really fun because in the audiobook version, they actually play the podcast like in between, and it sounds like a podcast. So it's really fun. It's got 2 narrators, a male and a female. So it's almost like you're in the book, and I love it. It's like you're watching a movie in your head, because you hear the different voices and you hear the podcast, and it plays like the little music to the podcast. So that was a really fun one, if for nothing else, for that, the dramatization. Like, I want to find some more books that are dramatized like that, because that just was so much fun to me, especially when I'm driving to and from work. That would be amazing, because it makes the time go by even faster. And so I gave that one 5 stars. It was amazing. It was twisty turny. Like I said, it was really fun because it had that podcast, you know, going throughout, and it has a little romance in it, you know. The next book was, basically I just found it because it fit the topic of, it's called the 5-Star Weekend, has the word star in it. I needed a book with a star on the cover or the word star, and it looked like it might be fun, so I chose it. And I'm glad I did, because it was a really good book. It's a romance type, chick lit type of book, but it's about a woman. Her husband passes away, and she's trying to get over the grief, get through the grief, I guess you should say. And so it says you invite 5 people from your lifetime, one, you know, current, one from your childhood, one from your, like, I guess your elementary years, your teen years, your college years, and then now. And so her person that she chose for now, she's like a like a YouTuber, or she's like her own cooking show. And so the person she chose for now is actually one of her fans that she's gotten to know through the computer, and she's never actually met in person. So this is her first time meeting this person. And everybody's like, you're so crazy that you would do this, you know. And so she invites her, and things get twisty and turny from there, because it's like somebody says, oh, I recognize you, and the lady's like, how do you recognize me? I'm not from around here. It's just twisty turny. So a lot of fun. I gave that one 4.5 stars because I did not really like the ending. It didn't end how I wanted it to, or how sometimes I want the end to be, you know, tied up in a bow. Sometimes I want it to be loose. Sometimes I want it to be crazy. And this one just didn't, you know, coalesce the way I wanted it to. Is that very wrong? Anyway, didn't come together like I wanted it to. So the next book was a physical book, and I actually listened to it partially on audio, and that's something else I've been doing. Well, not been doing, but I did. I found like a lot of my physical books that I have, I found them on Libby, so that I can do that like back and forth thing. And so this one was one of my old authors, Sue Grafton, Y is for Yesterday. And it's probably one of my favorite books by her. It really was different than what she normally does. And she showed Kinsey in a different light of her, you know, just being a private investigator, like a different way of being a private investigator. Instead of her always, you know, just solving crime straightforward, this one was a little different. And so in this one, it was about some teenagers and things that they did in their teenage time, and then it fast forwards to now. And so Kinsey is trying to figure out what happened 10 years ago to solve some issues about what is going on now. And so that was like the kind of different way that it was done, but I really liked it. It was really interesting. I don't want to give too much away, but it does have a trigger. I will give a trigger warning that there is some SA, assault of women, in this book. So if that triggers you, you might not want to read this one, because it's kind of throughout the book and it gets a little graphic. And that was, I gave it 5 stars. It was really fun, enjoyable, not fun, but it was really enjoyable. Okay, the last one I read was Deadly Arrangements, and it's a cozy mystery, number 2 in a series, and it was by Annie something or another, and I gave it 4 stars. And I went back to, because I, for the life of me, could not remember the book. It was the last one I read in May, so I should be able to remember it. And I even went back and read the synopsis, and I'm still just kind of like, when did I read that? Because, like, it's not clicking anything about the book. I know she was a florist, and I thought it would be kind of like the messy murder, the cozy mystery, bookshop, coffee shop, florist, you know. And it just didn't stick with me. And I mean, I liked it as I was reading it, and I gave it 4 stars. So obviously I didn't just think it was the best ever, but it's very forgettable. So I about want to knock it down to 3 stars because it's so forgettable. But that was the last book I read. So if you really want to know what it's about, you might want to look it up, because I don't really remember. I know she was planning, I think, her sister's wedding, and she's got like this new boyfriend she's trying to talk to, and every time they go to meet up, something happens where they can't, you know, meet up. And yeah, then there's like another woman that comes in to play, and so she's like thinking that he's having well, not an affair, but he's, you know, has this past with this other woman, and how does that coincide with what's going on in the present? Okay, it's kind of coming back to me now. And yeah, I mean, it was a fun read. It was an easy read. 4 stars. It wasn't anything amazing. It wasn't anything twisty turny. It wasn't anything that I, didn't see coming. But overall, I had a good month. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 7 5-star books. So it was a great reading month. And the other 2 were 4.5 and 4 stars. And like I said, the 5-star weekend was really good. And Deadly Arrangements, I don't know. it was good as it's going. It's just not memorable at all. And so that wraps up my May reading. And a glimpse into June, I'm doing another challenge with Journey to Healthy Book Club. And in this one, we have Summer Shenanigans, Quirky or Chaotic Cast, Summer of Screams, Horror or Paranormal, Bookcation, Set in a Place You Want to Visit, Beach Visit, Vacation, Romance, and Beachy Vibes, Hot Days, Cold Drinks, Cool Thrills, Mystery, Thrill, or Suspense, Sizzling Setting, Warm, Tropical, or Summery Location, Summer Lovin', Romantic Read, Sunburnt and Over It, A Book on Shelf Forever, and One Day All the Way, Short Book Novella. And I've already finished 3, and I'm working on a few more. This actually, this challenge was a little harder than last month for me so far, because I don't have a lot of romance, vacation, beachy, fun books on hand. Most of my books on hand are mystery, thriller type things. And so I don't really read horror or paranormal, but I have something that I'm listening to right now that has a ghost in it. So I'm counting it as paranormal and we're going with it. I do like romance, okay, but it's not something I just gravitate like, oh, I want to read some romance books. But I've read a lot of them using her challenges because she does read a lot of romance. So a lot of her challenge topics are in the area of romance. But I have a few that I have plans to read. I'm trying to figure out where some of my books are going to fit. And I'm probably going to end up reading ones that aren't on this list. And I may not actually complete the challenge because I'm going to be reading books that aren't in the challenge. So we'll see. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. I should be able to do more than 9 books in June because I'm not working. I am at home all day. Not reading though. So I need to read more. And I just thought about I got a new phone, so I'm going to have to download my Libby app and get logged in. So I shall be doing that in just a few minutes. I hope you enjoyed my little wrap up for May, and I need to pick a book of the month for May because I did this little best books of 2025 that I printed. And so far I only have January, February, and March. So January's favorite book was The Radium Girls. The book is better than the movie, and the movie was pretty awesome. February was Thank You for Listening, another podcast book, and I loved it. It was a romance. March was The Bookbinder, and that was a really cool historical fiction book. April, I had not chosen anything. Let's see. It will probably be between, hold on, Jason. Probably, I only had 2 5 stars. Mame and What Have You Done? I think it would be Mame. Coming of age book about a young girl as she's growing up. It had some twists and turns. It's pretty cool. And May, I would say, ooh, I had so many 5 stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5 stars. And they're all so different. I have a thriller, I have a true crime, I have a cozy mystery, and I have my Sue Grafton. I'm gonna say it's gonna be between Listen for the Lie and The Mother Next Door. I'm probably gonna go with Listen for the Lie. Listen for the Lie would be my May pick. So I will see you later. Bye.